For decades, Bea Arthur was admired as one of television's sharpest and most fearless stars. But behind the wit, the fame, and the unforgettable performances was a life few people truly understood. While millions believed they knew the woman behind the screen, Bea carefully kept some of her deepest struggles and private battles out of the spotlight. So, who was the real Bea Arthur? And why did she spend years protecting that side of herself? To millions of viewers, Bea Arthur seemed completely transparent. Whether she was delivering razor-sharp one-liners on Maude or portraying the unforgettable Dorothy Zbornak on the Golden Girls, she projected confidence, intelligence, and a no-nonsense attitude that made her one of television's most respected actresses. It was easy to believe that the woman on screen was exactly the same person when the cameras stopped rolling. But those who knew Bea personally often described someone far more private and guarded than the public ever imagined. Away from Hollywood's bright lights, she carefully separated her public career from her personal life. She rarely discussed her deepest emotions in interviews, avoided the celebrity spotlight whenever possible, and protected the people closest to her from media attention. That privacy eventually gave rise to years of speculation. Some believed she was distant. Others assumed she was hiding something. In reality, Bea Arthur wasn't living a secret life built on deception. She was protecting a lifetime of experiences that shaped the woman she became. And the truth behind those hidden chapters reveals a story far more powerful than the rumors ever suggested. The biggest surprise about Bea Arthur's life wasn't a shocking scandal or a hidden Hollywood feud. It was the extraordinary life she had lived long before she became a television icon. Years before audiences knew her as the quick-witted star of Maude and the Golden Girls, Bea was serving her country during World War II. At just 21 years old, she enlisted in the United States Marine Corps Women's Reserve, becoming one of the first generations of American women to wear the Marine uniform. While most aspiring actresses were chasing auditions, Bea was learning military discipline, working as a truck driver and typist, and contributing to the war effort in ways that remained largely unknown to her fans for decades. After the war, she quietly left that chapter behind and pursued acting, determined to build a career based on talent rather than personal history. She studied drama, worked tirelessly on stage, and eventually found success on Broadway before making the leap to television. Yet even as her fame grew, she rarely spoke about her military service or the hardships she had experienced before Hollywood. Instead, she allowed audiences to know her through the characters she portrayed, rather than the challenges she had already overcome. That decision created an unexpected contrast. On screen, Bea Arthur appeared bold, outspoken, and almost impossible to intimidate. Off-screen, she fiercely protected her privacy and preferred to let her work speak for itself. The double life wasn't about living two different identities. It was about separating the public image of a beloved television legend from the deeply personal experiences that shaped her long before the world ever knew her name. And those hidden experiences would later influence not only her career, but also the compassion and quiet generosity that defined her life away from the cameras. Although Bea Arthur spent much of her life making millions laugh, those closest to her knew that she carried a quiet strength shaped by experiences far beyond Hollywood. She never sought sympathy, rarely spoke about her personal struggles, and resisted the idea of turning her private life into public entertainment. Instead, she poured her emotions into the characters she played, giving them a depth and authenticity that audiences instinctively recognized. That was one of her greatest gifts. She didn't just deliver memorable lines. She made people believe them. As her career flourished, Bea became one of television's most respected actresses, but fame never changed the values she had developed long before the spotlight found her. Friends often described her as fiercely loyal, deeply compassionate, and surprisingly generous, even if she wasn't the type to express those qualities with grand gestures or emotional speeches. She preferred actions over words, quietly supporting causes she believed in and helping others without seeking recognition. One cause remained especially close to her heart: helping vulnerable young people, particularly LGBTQ+ youth, experiencing homelessness. Rather than simply lending her name to charities, Bea actively supported organizations dedicated to giving struggling young people a safe place to rebuild their lives. It reflected a side of her character that many viewers never saw, one driven not by publicity, but by genuine empathy. Perhaps that's why Bea Arthur's legacy has continued to grow long after her final performance. People remember her sharp wit and unforgettable characters, but they also remember a woman who valued integrity over attention and kindness over celebrity. Behind the confident television icon was someone who understood that real strength isn't measured by fame or applause. It's measured by the lives you touch when no one is watching. And in that respect, Bea Arthur's greatest role may have been the one she played away from the cameras, where compassion, resilience, and quiet generosity defined the woman she truly was. The most unexpected chapter of Bea Arthur's story came after the cameras stopped rolling. While many assumed she had stepped away from the spotlight to enjoy retirement, she quietly focused on leaving behind something far more meaningful than awards or television ratings. Instead of chasing one final role, Bea devoted her time and resources to causes she deeply believed in, particularly helping young people facing homelessness and hardship. It was a side of her life she rarely discussed, preferring that her actions speak louder than public recognition. Then, after her passing in 2009, another remarkable truth emerged. Through her estate, Bea left substantial support for organizations that provided shelter and services to homeless LGBTQ+ youth, ensuring her compassion would continue long after she was gone. For many fans, it completely changed the way they viewed her legacy. She wasn't simply a television legend with an unforgettable sense of humor. She was someone who quietly used her success to make a lasting difference in the lives of people she would never meet. Perhaps that's the greatest twist of all. Bea Arthur's most important role wasn't played on a television set. It was the life she lived when the cameras were off, proving that true character is revealed not by fame, but by the kindness you leave behind. Bea Arthur's greatest legacy wasn't the laughter she brought to television. It was the compassion, strength, and integrity she showed when no one was watching. Her story reminds us that true greatness is measured by the lives we touch. If you enjoyed this documentary, subscribe to Legend Discovery for more inspiring true stories behind history's most unforgettable icons.